going on? Craig from Classy Brain here, and in this edition of Classy University, I wanted to talk about what is included in a digital marketing proposal and essentially how do you get that information. And before we get started, I wanted to mention one thing. I had asked several different companies to provide information on their own internal proposals. The idea was I wanted to collect all of these different proposals, review all of them, and pick the best ones, including whether or not ours was or not, and try to find out what was going to work best for this video to help you guys out. And it was kind of funny because we asked several different companies and got 0 proposals. So apparently what I'm about to share with you today is very top secret. A lot of companies don't want you to know this information, and I just thought that was funny. I wanted to share that little anecdote, so you're welcome, I guess. But jumping right in, what I think needs to be included in a digital marketing proposal first is you want to have a snazzy cover. In my opinion, a proposal should start on a high note and end on a high note as well. And so a snazzy cover, definitely invest in a graphic designer. Don't be afraid to put some money out there to get something that is really, really high quality, really professional, especially if you're going to be competing against other digital marketing companies. Don't skimp on a cover. It's the first thing that somebody sees when they're viewing your business. Really, really, really important in my opinion to set that good first impression. And so we're going to assume, hey, so do you have a snazzy cover? What's next? Well, I like to do some social proof. So right when they open up their proposal, I like them to see a snapshot just kind of bios that talk about our different employees and what degrees they have, what accreditations they have, what awards the company has won, as well as maybe 1 or 2 testimonials from a high-profile client. I think that's great if they can just open that, see that right away before they actually get into the meat of the proposal, which is the objective. A sample of an objective is I usually like to have a 1 or 2 sentence objective, something that just states, in this case, to increase the amount of monthly qualified leads for, and we're gonna have a pretend company here, John's Dog Spa. You really just wanna sum up what you're trying to do. And for the most part, all small business owners care about, or businesses in general, is making money, so you wanna make sure that you're speaking their language. What are you trying to do? You're trying to make them more money, right? That's the overall objective. And you wanna communicate your objective on how you do that with your campaign. So the campaign is going to be the next portion of the proposal. You can divide this into phases. I think that's the best way to do that. Phase 1, we take care of these items. Phase 2, these items. Phase 3, these items. And then also make sure to note if there's any residual work, because there's always something to do in digital marketing, whether it's constantly responding to reviews, whether it's posting to Google My Business, answering questions on Google Q&A. You want to make sure that you're covering all of those bases if you can, and listing which ones need to be done on a residual basis, like blogging again. Definitely get that laid out in the campaign section of your proposal, and somewhere in phases, whatever phases that you have, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. Next, and we'll talk about a little bit about how to get that information in just a second, but next, I think it's great if you also list when they get this work done. So you list, here's what we're gonna do, here's when it's gonna be done, here's when it's gonna be completed, here's what to expect. If a client's purchasing anything from you, they should know what they're getting, when they're gonna get it. And also bonus points if you include who is going to be doing the work. So if you have a team or contractors or something like that, just putting, hey, here's when this is going to be completed, here's who's going to complete it. And also, of course, here's what's going to be done. So once you get your dependencies, next is probably the only thing that a small business owner cares about. They may even just scroll right through all of this and just go straight to how much is this going to cost me? And on the pricing page, I think you should have a couple things. First is your monthly retainer. A lot of monthly retainers for digital marketing companies right now is anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. Obviously, it goes way up from there or down, but that's just kind of the average. And you want to have your hard costs in there as well. So any line items, if you need to purchase software, a review aggregation software, maybe some call tracking, something like that, list those line items out as well. I generally like to do that. I think it's best practice for that kind of transparency. And a little tip, add value propositions. So since this is the most viewed section of a proposal, be sure to remember, hey guys, we're month to month, right? Which Classy Brain is. We don't make anybody sign long-term contracts, so that would be a value proposition for us, as well as if you have any discounts, any promos that you have going on for a certain quarter, include that on the pricing section of the proposal as well, so that if they flip back to it, they're constantly seeing that as well. So after the pricing, in my opinion, you should 100% have a proof of concept. This means that it's peace of mind that if they're going to be investing in your process or your service, you want to make sure that you're showing them that it works. So this could be in the form of a case study, analytics, whatever you have to show them, hey, we do this really well, here's how. Case studies, analytics, things like that, again, start on a high note, end on a high note, right? I think those are very important, which would lead me to the next steps. You want to tell them how to become a customer, so whether that's just signing on the dotted line, right? Maybe paying the first invoice. Just list that out. Here's what we do next. Here's how you actually become a customer, and then obviously give them a place to sign. So just some optional things in there, some things that I've seen in different proposals. Some people put their contracts in their proposals. I think that's fine. In my personal opinion, I like sending them separately as 2 Word documents, because this all together can get kind of lengthy, especially the campaign section. In my opinion, a campaign section should have everything that you're going to be doing listed out. And so they're going to be, they might get a little tired just reading through so many different pages of text, especially contracts. Those are very word heavy. People will also include references from business owners or any kind of like testimonies, something that people can actually call and say, hey, you hired this company, what happened, what was that process like? Some people will include those references. Glossary of terms, explanations of services, I've seen things like that. Personally, I just think that's kind of wordy, but if you want to include that in yours, not going to stop you. So moving on, just wrapping up here, this is what I think should be included in a digital marketing proposal. So let's talk about how you get that information, and then I just have some additional notes on the proposal process as well. So how do you get campaign info? So we talked about here's what you should lay out. Here, maybe here's how you should organize it in the campaign, organize it by phases. Here's how you get that information, in my opinion. I like to do a process that we internally call the 1-2-1 process. So we spend 1 hour of discovery with a client where we ask them client-side questions. I'll explain that in a second. We spend 2 hours of research and proposal drafting, so we'll actually create that proposal for them before we send it out. And then we spend 1 hour going over everything with the client. And so 1-2-1 I think is great. I think it's easy to scale. I like to recommend it for any company that is trying to scale, like I said, scale up a sales process. I think this works really well. The 1 hour of discovery, you ask client-side questions like, what was your most successful marketing campaign? How much money did you make off of that campaign? What are your current sales goals? Where do you want to be? Questions like that only the client can answer. Definitely try to remember that, again, when you're creating your proposal, because money-related questions are kind of, that's the only reason why they're hiring you, right? They want to make money off of their investment. And so understanding that you're in sync with that, it definitely helps out. So next, 2 hours of research. So this is where you can go in and look for any AdWords recommendations, Facebook campaign recommendations, search engine optimization recommendations, any on-site opportunities, things of that nature can be done on your own. And then put everything together, draft up that proposal, and then always go over everything on the phone at least. I like to do everything via screen share, but if you guys don't have screen shares or don't want to do that, don't try to send everything over via email. Your customer is going to have questions. There could be terminology on your proposal they don't understand. Maybe you use language like GMB or SMB or something like that. A customer might not know what that means. So ensuring that you're there to answer any questions they might have or break down anything regarding cost, you definitely want to do that, like I said, again, over a screen share. And it's really simple to do. So moving right along, that's the 1-2-1 process. That's how you collect all the information for the campaign before you break it out into phases. Next, here are just some notes on best practice for proposals. The first one being, remember, always focus on return on investment. Sometimes small businesses will only look at search engine optimization or AdWords and Facebook in regards to what it costs them. not how much they're going to potentially make off of that. So while it's hard to make any guarantees, just making sure that they're understanding that this is an investment during your proposal process, it's going to make your life a lot easier. The next thing is be sure to set expiration dates for your proposals. Due to the dynamic nature of search engines and just terms and conditions changing all the time, strategies changing all the time, you don't want to tie yourself to a proposal and then have a client sign that proposal maybe 4 months later when things have changed. And also it could create a sense of urgency on the client side, just to understand, hey, we need to get this signed. We have to maybe talk about this, maybe just do an internal huddle and figure out what we're going to do about this digital marketing proposal. I think setting expiration dates for proposals is definitely going to be in your best interest for sure. Number 3, add incentives to sign up. Whether you want to waive a setup fee, if you have a setup fee, or again offer a discount, adding some sort of incentive is going to keep you competitive, especially if you're competing with different digital marketing companies for a client. Number 4, this is something that's kind of internal, but I always stress for a sales team, always schedule your next call while you're on a call. So if you're doing 1 hour of discovery, before you get off that phone call, schedule another hour to go over everything while you're on that call. If you do that, like I said, it's just going to make your life a lot easier. You're not going to be trying to call a customer to set up an appointment. You're not going to be emailing them to do the same. They get busy, right? Small business owners and business owners get busy. They're going to be doing a lot of different things. And maybe sometimes they're not going to be thinking about you or wanting to deal with you. And so just making sure that you can, while you have their time, make the most out of it by scheduling another appointment. I always recommend somebody do that. And then the next thing is probably more of a mentality thing, but when, right? If you're going to be doing all of this work to put together a proposal, go the extra mile to, purchase a loaf of bread or, drop it off at their office. Maybe it's a gift basket, maybe it's a gift card. If you're going to be competing, you're going to be putting in all this time, make sure that you win that client. That's more of a mentality thing, right? But anyway, my name is Craig, and I want to thank you so much for sticking around this long. We'll see you next time.